the passage selectively. Where are you reading? Introduction, if there is one. As you read that introduction, your mindset is, do we have a topic that is being discussed here? Your topic is usually the most repeated idea. Now, that the most repeated idea may not necessarily be one thing. You get? Or even if it's something, they may not say it the same way consistently throughout the passage. So you must be familiar with the idea that there are things we call noun or pronoun references. Remember, we said a pronoun is the word used instead of a noun. So by the time I start and say my topic is Sunday, in another place I may say he is still my topic. Do you think so? Yes. Same thing with what we mean by noun and pronoun references. Look at this passage. Let me show you what I mean. The topic is at the start. We called it neurofeedback. Can you see my screen? Can you hear me before I proceed?
Yes.
All right. So the topic is neurofeedback. He starts by telling us this is a method for training of the self-regulation of physiological, especially neuropsychological body signals. Okay, so neurofeedback is the method for training. They now said it became popular in 1970. So this is now shows me that I'm still on the topic of what?
Neurofeedback.
Because it refers, but it is still the topic. By the time I get here, they said the self-regulation training was mediated by visual. The self-regulation training is still what? Neurofeedback. This is a noun reference. How do I know? Because neurofeedback is a method for training the self. They now call it the self-regulation training. I still know that it's my what? Topic, neurofeedback. If you keep going down and down, you will see a different way in which they said neurofeedback without saying neurofeedback. So you have to be alert to this. So once you've identified a topic, to be sure that that's the correct topic, you will see them consistently talk about this topic in different parts of the paragraph, but be aware that they will not say it the same way. They could either use pronoun references or they could use noun references. But the first thing is, your first reading should help you identify a topic that was discussed. At least you know you have something. So they said, read the passage selectively, just noting the author's main topic and purpose. So purpose is, once you've identified the topic, so what? Are you with me? So what? So by so what I mean, okay, so now I have my topic. So what the next one try to figure out is, so when they now say neurofeedback, what is the aim of this passage in regards to neurofeedback? I go back, I go and check the key areas where they discuss neurofeedback. Usually, that is the topic sentences of the next paragraphs and the concluding sentences of those paragraphs. So you want to see what they are discussing about that topic to the end of the passage, the active. If you can read in an undertone, that's mumbling your words, please do. But if you try to read inside your mind, a lot of us think will work for us, fine. But you might, that's been, it's a little bit passive for me. And being passive in that way, you might get lost or distracted, or you may not really get something, and you may want to read some things over and over again. But I want you to be actively reading, and I'm going to tell you I'm going to do that very quickly now. But let's not distract from what we said first. So we said the next thing to find out the purpose. So the key areas is the topic sentence, concluding sentence of the following paragraph down to the conclusion. As you are reading those areas, the question you're asking yourself is, so this is my topic. What are they saying about my topic in these key areas? You want to have substance that you draw from the passage, right? So neurofeedback, they defined it, fine. They told me it became popular in 1970. I mean, they now said it was mediated by this. So you keep checking, what are they saying about my topic? As we are taking these areas, another key area that helps you to really understand the passage as a whole are signposts. Signposts are usually transition words where they show a shift in thought. So when you see them use words like but, however, although, since then, therefore, the author is trying to be a contradictory point to something he has said before, or it could be a point that explains better what he has said before. But you want to read that area too, because it's helpful. Are you getting what I'm saying? These are the key areas you focus your reading on. You want to actively focus on this area. Identify a topic. Go and read all the places where you find that topic to see what they are saying about the topic here. Then try to look out if there's any shifts in thought. Indicators for shifts in thought. Signposts. Things like however, but, although. So you read those areas too. By the time you've read those places, don't worry yourself too much. You've seen some key things in the passage. Now you can go to the question. The concept behind this is being able to return back to the passage in a thoughtful manner when you want to answer questions. I'll show you how. But that first reading, your aim is not to understand the passage and say, let me go and start answering questions. No, you want to have a map of the passage. You want to at least get a substance of what the passage is saying. So you're not going into the question blindly. That's the aim. The aim, that's not the one that will really help you get your answers correct. If you want to spend much time here and really say, understand the passage, you will still come back to the passage. Rather, just let that first reading have an aim. The aim is to just get substance of what the passage is about. That's what we are saying. So I said, actively read, not really inside your mind. Probably paraphrase, mumble your words a bit. Paraphrase, I mean, is, look at bullet point 2. Reduce long sentences into essential elements, the subject, the verb, and predicate. So a sentence look awkwardly long just to confuse you. Just look out for what's the subject here, and what's the verb attached to it, and what's the predicate. Okay, so many horses came from it, so it's just many horses came. Now I get the sense of what they are saying, right? Another thing is paraphrase in your own words for better comprehension. I cannot emphasize this. You see, they are where their passages are dry, number one. The passages are esoteric. The passages are a bit vague in the way they try to put their words. So when you are reading something and you're trying to read it with their own words, you might get lost. But once you read it with their own words, read that page again with your own word and be like, okay, so they said this, and this is what me I can interpret from this. So I think this is what they are saying. You need to keep doing that as you are reading through. So let's come back to this. So I read neurofeedback is a method for training of the self-regulation of the psychological, especially neuropsychological body signal. Okay, all these things is what they say. Neurofeedback is a way where you train, right, to self-regulate. So what are you self-regulating? Your body, your mind. I can see neuro, so I can see brain there. I mean, so my mind, I'm training my body and my mind to regulate. That's what neurofeedback is. Now I get the sense. I proceed. This is when the first devices for regulation training were offered. So it became popular in 1975. Now look at this funny sentence. The self-regulation training was mediated by visual or cortical real-time display of, for example, the muscular tension measured by the electromyogram or the amplitude of the alpha rhythm activity measured by the electromyogram. See what he said there. So I think it might get, what's this?
What's my concern?
Exactly. So you have to come back and read it in a way that you can understand. How do you go? So you go the neurofeedback, which is the self-regulation training, right? Was mediated by visual D. So mediated means was probably made possible because it cannot be mediating like a mediator, a person. No, since it's a device. I mean, so it was made possible, or you are able to do it by visual or acoustic route. So I'm thinking of computers. They now gave me an example. So the example is muscular tension. I leave the example, they are saying rubbish. But I'm like, okay, so you're able to use it with computers. So I come here, I leave that part. They now said the measurements required that, oh, what measurements? That means it must have come from that example. Measured by electroencephalogram.